every game you go into it, try and just highlight guys. Miles got a game ball. I thought it was probably pretty worthy. But you're just constantly trying to recognize your guys. We spent time this morning as well pointing out all of our guys and the jobs they did out. Point out Gage having a big punt return, which was huge for our team.
The Cleveland Browns drama just hit a whole new level. GM Andrew Berry is pushing hard for rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders to get a shot, even though head coach Kevin Stefanski and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees aren't sold on him. Sanders made his debut in Week 11 against the Ravens and struggled, going 4 for 16 with 47 yards and a pick. And Stephen A. Smith says that wasn't just a bad game, it exposed a divide inside the organization. But the wildest part, while Sanders was playing in his first NFL action, his Cleveland home was burglarized. Police say around $200,000 worth of property was stolen by 3 masked suspects. And now Stefanski says Sanders could start next Sunday against the Raiders if Dylan Gabriel stays in concussion protocol.
Kevin Stefanski just tried to defend himself, and it backfired spectacularly. After refusing to give Shedeur Sanders the game ball following his first NFL win, a historic debut that ended a 17-game losing streak for first-time Browns starters, the backlash was instant. Shannon Sharpe tore into him, the media went wild, and the entire NFL world noticed something. Stefanski couldn't even say Shedeur's name. But here's where it gets explosive. While Stefanski stood at that podium dodging questions and talking about highlighting guys, Browns GM Andrew Berry was in the locker room embracing Shedeur like he just won the Super Bowl. That hug told the whole story, because according to Stephen A. Smith and multiple insiders, there's a rift brewing in Cleveland. Stefanski and his offensive coordinator don't believe in Shedeur, but Berry, he's all in. And now Berry's making his stance crystal clear, while Stefanski's out here looking like he's coaching against his own quarterback.
Holiday preparation, man. This is the pre-Thanksgiving kickoff, and I'm here to tell you, Kevin Stefanski is in some hot water yet again. Now, we all seen what was displayed over the weekend when Shedeur Sanders went up to Las Vegas, got out of that city with the dub. At the conclusion of the game, we seen Kevin Stefanski hold the game ball in the air, and he pretty much said, well, you know what, Myles Garrett, this is for you.
The keys is his. I think he is the future quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Now, yesterday after the game, Kevin Stefanski didn't want to give Shedeur Sanders his praise. He tried to undermine a lot of things that Shedeur Sanders did offensively and gave all the credit to the center, the blocking schemes, and the lights-out defense, and really didn't acknowledge the quarterback play of Shedeur being that first rookie on a historical performance to win in over 30-some years as a rookie starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns organization. Now, Kevin Stefanski just wrapped up his Zoom call for Monday, and they was asking him questions, and now he wants to come out to say that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starting quarterback. I feel that Kevin Stefanski is feeling that pressure.
So let me paint the picture for you, because this story has layers that go way deeper than just a game ball. Shedeur Sanders walked into Las Vegas, his first NFL start on the road, and did something no Browns rookie quarterback had done in almost 2 decades. He didn't just win, he dominated. 1 sack. That's it. 1 sack for -3 yards in a game where he was supposed to get destroyed. The kid showed composure, pocket presence, and leadership that veterans dream about having. He led that team to victory, broke a curse that had been haunting Cleveland since 2007, and you'd think the coach would be ecstatic, right? Wrong. Kevin Stefanski walks into that locker room after the game, grabs the game ball, holds it up high, and says 5 words that set the internet on fire. Myles Garrett, this is for you. Now look, nobody's saying Myles Garrett didn't deserve recognition. The man had 5 sacks. 5! That's an incredible performance, and he absolutely earned praise. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. This was Shedeur's moment, his first win, his debut. The kid just ended nearly 2 decades of rookie quarterback failures in Cleveland, and his head coach couldn't even spare 1 game ball for him? Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back. The media didn't hold back, and neither did the fans. Because what we all saw in that moment wasn't just about a game ball, It was about respect. It was about acknowledgement. It was about a coach showing his rookie quarterback that he believes in him. And Stefanski, he failed that test miserably.
Them as well. So there are schemes, there are offensive attacks that utilize pre-snap motion shift for a variety of reasons, but it's a huge point of emphasis for us on defense to stay true to our job, stay true to our reads, those type of things.
But here's where it gets really interesting. While all this controversy was swirling, Andrew Berry, the man who actually drafted Shedeur, the man who built this roster, the man who's responsible for the Browns' future, he was in that same locker room doing something completely different. Berry walked up to Shedeur and gave him a hug that spoke volumes. Not a handshake, not a pat on the back. A full embrace, the kind of hug that says, I believe in you, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. And bro, that hug said everything Stefanski's words didn't. Now, fast forward to the press conference. Stefanski's standing at the podium, and you can tell he knows he messed up. The reporters smell blood in the water, and they're not letting this go. One reporter asked the question everyone wanted answered. Why didn't you give Shedeur a game ball after the game? And this is where Stefanski's response gets even more problematic. He starts talking about highlighting guys and how they're constantly trying to recognize players. He mentions Myles Garrett's game ball was probably pretty worthy, which, again, nobody disputed. He talks about Gage having a big punt return. He talks about the defensive line getting 10 sacks because the coverage was good. He even acknowledges that a rookie starting his first game on the road getting a win is huge. But you know what he doesn't do? He doesn't say Shedeur's name. Not once during that answer. Not once. Let that sink in for a second. The reporter specifically asks about Shedeur Sanders by name, and Stefanski responds by talking about everyone else and referring to his franchise quarterback as a rookie. No name, no personal acknowledgement, just generic coach speak that felt colder than a Cleveland winter.
The game you go into.
So he didn't even acknowledge Shedeur's name, but we're finna dissect some of this press conference that he had, man. It's just mind-blowing to me, dog, that we're
talented roster
here.
They're playing good football, so we have to meet this challenge. It's a unique challenge in some of the things they do schematically. So we have to have a great work week. Obviously, it's a different work week just with Thanksgiving tomorrow, and we'll move some meetings around and that type of thing. But have to have a really great work week.
And people noticed. Oh, they noticed, because when you watch that press conference, you can see Stefanski's discomfort. He's fidgeting, he's deflecting, he's doing everything except giving a straight answer about why the quarterback who just made history for his organization didn't get the recognition he deserved. It's the kind of body language that tells you there's more going on beneath the surface than he's willing to admit. Now, here's where we need to talk about what's really happening in Cleveland. Because this game ball controversy, it's just the tip of the iceberg. According to multiple reports and insiders like Stephen A. Smith, there's a serious divide in that Browns organization right now. And it's not about football philosophy or play calling. It's about Shedeur Sanders himself. Word on the street is that Kevin Stefanski and his offensive coordinator don't really believe in Shedeur. They see him as a project, maybe even a burden they were forced to take on. Meanwhile, Andrew Berry, the guy who actually has the power to draft players, he's all in on Shedeur. He believes this kid is the future of the franchise. He sees the potential that made Shedeur one of the most talked about quarterback prospects in recent memory. And that hug in the locker room? That wasn't just a GM congratulating his player. That was Andrew Berry sending a message to everyone watching. This is my guy. I don't care what the coaching staff thinks. I drafted him. I believe in him, and I'm standing with him.
Lost sacks.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. The protection plan was really solid. We really had one sack for -3 yards on a coverage sack. We went max protection, didn't really have any underneath options, moved forward in the pocket with great ball security. So that's a great lesson for the young quarterback. And we took a sack, but it was just for -3. We maintained possession of the ball. He had great ball security throughout that. But
That's gotta sting. And you know what? I think Shedeur felt it. But here's what I respect about him.
He didn't let it show. He stayed professional. He stayed focused. He let his play do the talking. Because at the end of the day, that's all he can control. But make no mistake, this situation is far from over. Because now you've got a GM who's clearly in Shedeur's corner, going up against a coaching staff that seems reluctant to fully embrace him. That's a recipe for organizational dysfunction. That's how you get leaked stories to the media. That's how you get rumors about coaching changes and front office tension. And honestly, if I'm Andrew Berry, I'm making it very clear behind closed doors that Shedeur Sanders is the future of this franchise, and everyone needs to get on board or get out of the way. Because here's the reality. GMs have more job security than coaches. Berry can outlast Stefanski if it comes down to it. And if this rift continues, if Stefanski keeps treating Shedeur like he's just another guy, Berry might have to make a decision about who he values more, his quarterback or his coach. Now, Stefanski did say some positive things about Shedeur in that press conference, let's be fair. He talked about how they've had discussions in the quarterback room about pocket mechanics and pocket movement. He acknowledged that Shedeur has the ability to make plays both in and out of the pocket. He praised the really strong outing in terms of only taking 1 sack. But all of that feels hollow when you couldn't even say his name when directly asked about him. It feels like Stefanski's doing the bare minimum to avoid looking completely unprofessional, while his true feelings are showing through in what he's not saying. And let's talk about the excuse he gave for a second. Every game you go into it trying to highlight guys. Okay, cool. But you're telling me that in a game where your rookie quarterback just made franchise history, you couldn't find a way to highlight him specifically? You had to make it all about the defense? Come on, man. That's weak, and everyone knows it.
Had a lot of discussions with all the quarterbacks in Shedeur on just our pocket movement, our pocket mechanics. When you have players that can escape the pocket and make big plays down the field, naturally, there are going to be times where you then expose yourself to a pass rush. So that balance of finding the completions when they're there and you can make plays from the pocket, and then also still having that ability to break the pocket, break contain, move up in the pocket, all those type of things where some big plays lie when you do that.
That's gotta sting. And you know what? I think Shedeur felt it. But here's what I respect about him. He didn't let it show. He stayed professional. He stayed focused. He let his play do the talking. Because at the end of the day, that's all he can control. But make no mistake, this situation is far from over. Because now you've got a GM who's clearly in Shedeur's corner, going up against a coaching staff that seems reluctant to fully embrace him. That's a recipe for organizational dysfunction. That's how you get leaked stories to the media. That's how you get rumors about coaching changes and front office tension. And honestly, if I'm Andrew Berry, I'm making it very clear behind closed doors that Shedeur Sanders is the future of this franchise, and everyone needs to get on board or get out of the way. Because here's the reality. GMs have more job security than coaches. Berry can outlast Stefanski if it comes down to it. And if this rift continues, if Stefanski keeps treating Shedeur like he's just another guy, Berry might have to make a decision about who he values more, his quarterback or his coach. Now, Stefanski did say some positive things about Shedeur in that press conference, let's be fair. He talked about how they've had discussions in the quarterback room about pocket mechanics and pocket movement. He acknowledged that Shedeur has the ability to make plays both in and out of the pocket. He praised the really strong outing in terms of only taking 1 sack. But all of that feels hollow when you couldn't even say his name when directly asked about him. It feels like Stefanski's doing the bare minimum to avoid looking completely unprofessional, while his true feelings are showing through in what he's not saying. And let's talk about the excuse he gave for a second. Every game you go into it trying to highlight guys. Okay, cool. But you're telling me that in a game where your rookie quarterback just made franchise history, you couldn't find a way to highlight him specifically? You had to make it all about the defense? Come on, man. That's weak, and everyone knows it.
Sunday with Shedeur. Do you have to kind of like harness his energy so he stays within the game?
I think he's always done a nice job of that. He's what we appreciate about all of our players is authenticity. He's the same guy every single day. Obviously on game day, there's a juice that comes with that. There's an excitement that comes with that, but he's played that position for a long time. He knows how to.
The comparison to how other coaches handle their rookie quarterbacks is stark. Look at how Kyle Shanahan talks about Brock Purdy. Look at how Sean McVay built up Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Look at how Andy Reid developed Patrick Mahomes. These coaches publicly champion their quarterbacks. They build them up in the media. They make it clear that they believe in them and support them. That's what Shedeur needs right now, not generic coach speak about acknowledging all that with your team. He needs his head coach to stand at that podium and say, Shedeur Sanders was incredible today. He showed me everything I needed to see. I'm proud of him. He's our quarterback, and I believe in his future. Is that so hard? Apparently for Kevin Stefanski, it is. Now, here's where I'm going to take a slightly different angle than most people covering the story. Because while I think Stefanski absolutely messed up, I also think we need to acknowledge the pressure he's under. The Browns are a franchise that's been desperate for quarterback stability for decades. They've cycled through more quarterbacks than anyone wants to count. Every time they draft one, the expectations are massive, and so is the scrutiny. Stefanski's job is literally on the line based on whether Shedeur succeeds or fails. And maybe, just maybe, his reluctance to fully embrace him publicly comes from a place of not wanting to put too much pressure on a rookie. Maybe he's trying to keep the spotlight off Shedeur and distribute praise across the team so the kid doesn't feel like he has to carry everything on his shoulders.
But you know what? That's not how you build a franchise quarterback's confidence. That's not how you create a culture of belief. And that's definitely not how you show your organization that you're all moving in the same direction. Because while Stefanski's playing it safe with his words, Andrew Berry's out here taking the bold approach. Berry's showing Shedeur and the entire world that he believes in this kid unconditionally. And in the battle of public perception, Berry's winning right now. The truth is, Shedeur Sanders is going to be just fine. He's got the talent. He's got the pedigree. He's got a GM who believes in him. And most importantly, he's got the mental toughness to handle adversity. This game ball controversy, it's probably just fuel for his fire. I wouldn't be surprised if he uses this as motivation to prove Stefanski wrong and show everyone exactly why Andrew Berry was right to draft him. But the real question is, how long can this dysfunction last? How long can the Browns afford to have a divided house when it comes to their franchise quarterback? Because history tells us that when there's a rift between the front office and the coaching staff, something's got to give. And usually, it's the coach who gets the boot. Kevin Stefanski better hope Shedeur continues to succeed, because if this kid balls out and Stefanski's still treating him like an afterthought, Andrew Berry might have to make a call about who's more valuable to the Browns' future. And something tells me he's already made up his mind. So here's what I want you to think about. Is Kevin Stefanski sabotaging Shedeur Sanders by refusing to publicly support him? Is Andrew Berry about to go to war with his coaching staff over this quarterback? And most importantly, is Shedeur going to use this disrespect as motivation to become the superstar we all know he can be? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Are you Team Berry or Team Stefanski? Do you think Shedeur deserved that game ball? And what should the Browns do if this rift keeps growing? If you made it this far, you're part of the real ones who see through the BS and want the truth. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's keep exposing what's really happening in the NFL. Because this story, it's far from over.